said, this is my very first time going live. I'm not really familiar with everything on YouTube, all the buttons and stuff yet. Um, I also prefer to put the pages up so you guys could see them as I'm reading them, but I haven't figured out how to do that yet either. So just bear with me. Yep, just like the heading says, Jeff Pagliocca just doesn't want to move on past Angel. He just wants to keep on trying to put hit pieces out there, little sneak disses, him, Tyler, and Sloot. So this latest article was also by Chicago Tribune, except the writer this time was Alyssa Hirsch. The interview was processed on April 22nd this year at 9:09 p.m. It's titled, Will This Time Be Different? Sky Push for Fresh Start. So I'm gonna read the entire article. It's about 6 pages, and I'll stop and let you know when I'm actually quoting Jeff in the article. So it's from Chicago Sun Times. I think I said Chicago Tribune, but it's actually Chicago Sun Times. Is the is where this was written. So it starts off. This is all writer. There are two distinct feelings coming out of Sky training camp. One comes from Courtney Vandersloot and Azare Stevens. They helped deliver the Sky's only WNBA title in 2021 and want to get back to that standard. The other comes from Coach Tyler Marsh and General Manager Jess Pagliocca, who would like a fresh start. I mean, if you ask me, Angel was trying to get to a winning standard as well. They just wouldn't bring in a solid point guard. Instead, Tyler wants this positionalist roster, playing players out of their position all season long, them looking ridiculous, not performing to their highest standards. But yet they blame Angel for all of it. Like, all you had to do was bring in a great or even decent PG, and the roster would have flowed effortlessly. Effortlessly. I mean, they beat the Minnesota Lynx, for goodness sake. Just imagine what they could have done if they would have played everyone in their positions and brought in a valid PG. Okay, so let me go on to the next page here. The writer goes on to say, and who wouldn't after the last 2 years? Losing seasons, coaching turnover, and a practice facility that still isn't ready, despite being promised by the end of 2025. Yeah, that practice facility is a whole big joke. And they use the CBA, don't get it twisted, without the money from the new CBA and the practice facility that they promised to be done by this season, they wouldn't have pulled Skylar, Dejanay, or even Azare. Look, they had to pay Azare a whole big $1 million bag to get her to even come back. So don't pretend like she's there because she wants to be there. She's there for the bag. Chicago Sky, Jeff Pagliocca, and Michael were the only franchise that was probably willing to give Azare $1 million bag. So don't get it twisted. The writer goes on to say, despite all that baggage, the front office managed to put together a competitive roster for the 2026 season. There's the intriguing new front court pairing of Camila Cardoso and Rickea Jackson, a rather accomplished backcourt featuring Skylar Diggins and Vandersloot. Not Vandersloot. She ain't even playing yet. And I have a feeling that she may not be ready to play probably until after All-Star, which Angel was right again. Angel was right again. A backcourt featuring Skylar Diggins and Vandersloot and a lottery pick of Gabrielle Jaquez, fresh off an NCAA title at UCLA. Okay, so the next page, we go into Jeff's first quote. It says, beginning of quote, "I think we should take a moment to step back and see what's this going to look like." End of quote. Pagliocca said Wednesday, start of quote, "because it's an awfully exciting, energetic group that we've put together." End of quote. I wouldn't, I do agree with him there. It is an energetic group, but like they say, Skylar Big Mama, the real Big Mama, screw her up, and she gonna be worse than Angel ever was. Jeff gonna wish he had never not drafted or signed her in. If he tries to do what the organization has done to players in the past, he gonna wish he would have kept Angel. And then the writer goes on to say, "You can understand that sentiment, can't you? That desire to turn a new leaf, to honor the potential. You can also understand the hesitation from fans. So many disappointed since the 2021 title. Remember when Kalia Copper was supposed to be the new face of the franchise? Remember when it was Angel Reese? It was never Angel Reese in Jeff's eyes, or Michael Alter's eyes, or Tyler Marsh's eyes. It was always the fans that thought she deserved and should have been the face of the franchise. It was never the organization. It was never anyone in the front office." The writer goes on to say, "The Sky traded up to draft Reese in 2024, touted her as a future, then they never touted her as a future. Then flipped her for future first round picks. Don't fans have the right to protect themselves from further heartbreak?" Yeah, they never said out loud that they wanted Angel to be the face of their franchise. And we all seen that footage of at the end of draft night after they drafted Angel. We all saw the video of Jeff's reaction to that. So the writer goes on to say, "At the request of media, Pagliocca or Pagliocca, I don't know how he pronounces it, and I don't care, frankly, addressed his offseason dealings at the length on Wednesday, including the blockbuster trade of Reese. On how the Reese deal went down. It was a decision we made." Oh, this is start of quote. Sorry. The question was on how did the Reese deal go down? And this is the beginning of the quote. Quote from Jeff. "It was a decision we made together. We remained in constant contact with Angel and her team after the season. Over that time, there were conversations with Atlanta. They expressed interest. That was a destination that was favorable for her." They asked him about the return of the deal. "If the return wasn't what we were looking for," begin of quote, "we weren't going to move Angel. It had to be favorable for both sides. It's not often you get 2 first round picks back." End of quote. All right. So the next subject was on whether Reese's suspension last season was a factor in them wanting to trade her. So beginning of quote, "The trade was nothing that was contentious at any point. We had closed that chapter on the suspension. Just a competitive player. Things were said. She handled it, and we moved forward." End of quote. 2 more pages left. Next question was on whether the Twin Towers pairing of Reese and Cardoso failed. Beginning of Jeff's quote. there's a lot of games where they played extremely well together, but systems change, people change, coaching staffs change. We have to make sure that we're fitting players that are going to fit the best in Tyler's systems. Let me read that one more time. That was end of quote. Start of quote. There's a lot of games where they played extremely well together, but systems change, people change, coaching staff change. We have to make sure that we're fitting players that are going to fit the best in Tyler's system. End of quote. So basically, this mother effing you know what is trying to say that Angel didn't fit in Tyler's system. This is what he's trying to say, which is a bunch of crap, because without Angel, that team would have been even more horrible than they were last season. Like, how do you have a poor point forward running the whole show, and then she's just handling it with so much grace, no matter how bad they treated her, no matter how many hit pieces Jeff had his right hand, any constipation, right about Angel. She still kept her head held high, and she gave them all she got last year, leading in every category: points, rebounds, assists. You know, then they brought in this couple of weak PGs. Tyler had everybody playing out of position. That's just nuts. You say a player does not fit your system, but she bends over backwards to try and get wins for your team, was very successful at it, and you turn around and say she doesn't fit Tyler's system. Tyler had literally every player playing out of position, and they refused to bring in a great or even decent PG last year. Man, please. I'm so happy Angel is out of there. I really am. So the next question goes on what roster balance really meant. Start of quote for Jeff. Clearly, I've been aggressive in getting players that I think are going to fit the way that I want to play and that Tyler wants to play. That balance sometimes means we have to trade a player to make sure we can rebuild some future draft capital. Let me read that again. Oh, that was end of quote. I'm going to read it again. Clearly, I've been aggressive in getting players that I think are going to fit the way that I want to play, that Tyler wants to play. Now, notice he said, I want to play, referring to himself first. So basically, is this even is this even Tyler's system, or is it Jeff's system that he wants Tyler to integrate? You know what I'm saying? Like, what the freak? To me, I think what they were trying to do is what they were trying to do and was not successful at it was what Schmeckel did with Atlanta Dream last year with the 3-point shooters. He just wasn't successful and he probably could have been. I'm not even gonna lie. Had he had Rachel playing her position as shooting guard, had he had Haley Van Lith as a shooting guard, had he played Maddie Moore to help back up Angel, I truly believe they could have been successful, more successful than they were last year. But instead, he wants to play around and try and make his team positionless. Therefore, he had everyone out of position last year, didn't bring in a decent PG that even fit the system, and Uzun, or however you pronounce her name, and messed up everything. His system could have worked last year had he put everyone in there, Michaela in her right position. Everyone in their right position, along with a great, decent PG Chicago Sky could have been successful last year. But instead, Jeff, Courtney Vandersloot had it all made up in their mind that they needed Angel out of there. It was already written. They first got rid of Teaspoon. He didn't want Teaspoon there because Teaspoon was hired before him. He also got rid of Kennedy. I truly believe nothing happened behind the scenes with Kennedy. She just was not part of their plans moving forward. He didn't want her because it was part of Teaspoon's pick. So that's the true reason I believe he didn't bring Kennedy back. Had nothing to do with what went on in the locker room because he got rid of those players anyway. So that just it just pisses me off that they just won't leave Angel's name out of their mouth, and they're still trying to shift the blame on her. Um, so the writer goes on to say that's about as candid in an explanation as you'll hear from the GM in public. Are there more layers to the trade? You bet. So what am I thinking? We've all been thinking that Camilla's going to get traded next because we truly think that they're going to say she doesn't fit their system, because why else would they bring in another five? Because E Will plays that position as well. So will you bet, will the future story ever come to light? No. No, no, only lies. Probably not on some sort of level. Fans will have, let me just open the last page. Probably not. On some levels, fans will have to take another leap of faith. And at least for now, the energy at camp backs it up. Just listen to Jackson. Beginning of quote for Rakia Jackson. I mean, it's only day 3, and I honestly want to run through a wall for Tyler, for Jeff, she said. Like, I've truly felt welcome here. I truly feel seen from the beginning. And that's just something that I've been missing in my career. Just feeling wanted, just feeling like you see me as I see myself. Maybe the Jackson Cardoso duel is here to stay. I don't think so. I think they're going to trade Camilla. I truly do. But I just wish they would just move on. Just if a question is asked about Angel, just say, we've all moved on from this, and moving forward, we want to concentrate on our new team, and try to have a successful season. Something to that effect. But keep that woman's name out their mouth. She's gone now. She's on a better team. She's got a better organization. Just leave her out of the conversation. So yeah, that's it. That's the whole article. Again, it's Chicago Sun-Times was the article. And again, the article is titled, Will This Time Be Different? Sky Push for a Fresh Start. And the writer is Alyssa Hirsch. I just wanted to get out there because it really bothered me that that he really sat there and said Angel doesn't fit in Tyler's system. And it never dawned on me, the first interview Tyler did with and asking questions about the rookies, and how Tyler just kept saying how Jaquez is a universal player and she can fit into anybody's system. Now I now know, and I kept saying to myself, why does he keep saying that? And I now know that it was a sneak diss at Angel. That's what that was. But believe it or not, Tyler and Jeff, Angel can also fit in any one system. So I wish Angel the best season she's ever had. And heck, I'm gonna roll the dice and say they're definitely making it past first round this year. And I hope they get that championship. We can only hope and pray, but they will definitely get past first round this year. All right, thanks for listening. Again, have a little bit of mercy on me. This is my first This is my first live. I had it scheduled to play later, but it looks like it might be playing now because I see all the highs. Hey, Miss D, Brooklyn, Kathy. Thanks for listening. I hope I wasn't rumbling on too bad. I'll get better as I do more of these and totally figure out how YouTube works. But thank you. Y'all have a good evening. Oh yeah, Miss D, you are right. He wants players that won't challenge him. He wants international players. That's what his look is. He wants to be. He wants to be like that, and he wants a system. He wants a system like Schmeckel's system, but Schmeckel's did circles around him with that system. Because of course we Schmeckel played all his girls in the right positions.